Hello, Ron Harrison here from Unlimited Success Agency, a part of Five Rings Financial. And I'm here tonight to share with you index savings plans, index savings accounts. Sometimes they're called $1 million baby plans, college savings plans, but I'll talk about the particulars as we go through this. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we'll learn a little bit about these index plans and how they can really help people put money away for college and many options. And we'll see those as we go through. So when we talk about savings accounts and essentially the financial industry, there are really two extremes to the financial industry. The first extreme is banks. And we all know about banks, right? They're safe, secure, there are guarantees. Typically, they're low returns, right? Savings accounts and CDs, because banks, they pay out low interest because they are loaning the money out at a higher interest rate. So, as an example, if they loan a home loan at 6%, they can't very well pay 5% interest to somebody who has a savings account. So they pay 2.5% or whatever. But anyway, there's low maintenance on bank products and they're very easy to understand. The money goes in, it grows, or whatever happens. So banks are on one side. Then the other side of our financial industry that most people know about are the investment side. So companies like Fidelity Investment, Charles Schwab, and there are many others out there. Now, where those two things are different is that investment companies, they're at risk. There are no guarantees, essentially. You get mixed returns. What I mean by that, you can make money one year, you can lose money the next year. You can make money 2 years in a row, lose money 3 years in a row, 2001, 2002, 2003, right? So you never know what can happen with that. They're high maintenance. That's why companies like Schwab and Fidelity and others charge maintenance fees. Now, a lot of them are getting away from some of those fees, but there are still fees involved in that. And then finally, they're difficult to understand. And one thing that I've seen in my financial services career, which has been about 13 or 14 years since I taught high school for 20 years, is that sometimes some companies like to keep people confused because confused people don't change what they're doing. So if somebody has a plan with Fidelity or Schwab or some of those investment companies, they're not likely to move their money because they're confused about what they have and they say, okay, heck with it, I'm just going to stay here. So that's enough about that. We work in the middle. Wouldn't you like to have something that would work in the middle that combines these two things? Well, that's what we do. These are called indexed accounts. So you can see on this graph, indexed accounts are the blue line. What do you notice about that blue line different from the green and the orange line? It has no negatives, does it? That's a great thing about index accounts. They have a zero floor, we call it. And zero floor means you cannot go negative. So look at those years in the S&P 500 and the Dow when they lost money, like 2, 3 years in a row. Then 2002 was a bad year. Index accounts just stay level. That's why index accounts in this example right here are so far ahead of the stock markets. So index accounts are safer, more secure. There are guarantees involved with them. We have one plan that people earn 7.2% on indexed accounts. There's downside protection, meaning you cannot have a less than zero in any year. Very low maintenance. Most of our plans have no fees. Then finally, very easy to understand. And here's all the understanding you need to have with index accounts. When the stock market does well, they go up. When the stock market does poorly, they lock in and go sideways. There. That's the understanding of them. Pretty simple, isn't it? Now, as we move along, a lot of people look at these, they think about savings plans for kids for college. I know we've had a lot of stuff in the news over the last 4 or 5 years, and of course, college is probably getting to be a little less of a target for lots of students. Because we know that the skilled trades, carpentry, plumbing, nursing, those sorts of things, and they all need education, but they don't necessarily need college education. Some of those programs that kids take part in to become an electrician or plumber or nurse, they might not be certified programs necessarily. So you may not be able to use certain college savings plans. So let's look at what a 529 or similar. So 529 is section 529 of IRS tax code. And it allows money to be set aside for college for children. And it's never taxed. So it's already gone through the tax system, put in there, and it's actually kind of tax deferred, depending on how the people do it. But anyway, look at these two columns. Where is the safety? Indexed accounts are safe from stock market downturns. Talked about that, right? You imagine your child's ready to go to college, your grandchild's ready to go to college in 2003, and they just lost 20% in their college savings plan in 2022. Can cover indirect college expenses. So indexed accounts, as student wants to live off campus or buy a car for college, they can use this money. They can't use 529 money. No impact on financial aid. On financial aid, fill in a FAFSA form. You have to list 529 and other registered college savings plans. Index accounts don't have to be listed. So that opens up students to grants and funding. Does not impact scholarships. Sort of goes with the one I talked about before. Avoids taxes and penalties for non-college use. 529 plans to use it for non-college use, or if the child doesn't go to college but wants to go into a trade or something. 10% penalty and other things conceivably, or somebody in the family has to use that money to go to college. Index accounts, it doesn't matter. Available if a child doesn't want to go to college, just mention that. And you can use it for non-accredited programs. If they want to be a YouTube programmer or go to Europe and study art, it can do that with 529, with index savings accounts, but not 529 plans. And you see Uncle Sam on the side of the page here. Uncle Sam is always there with this handout, wanting your money. Index college savings plans are immune from Uncle Sam. Flexibility and access. So you see the three pictures here. So, you know, you could money child to buy a car, a wedding. I almost said a first wedding. That would be a good thing, right? But a wedding, a first home. Money can be used for all of that. So let's look at some of the accessibility. Index growth, I talked about that, up and sideways, no market risk. Annual crediting. So on an annual basis, boom, here's your crediting. What did the market do? Here's your crediting you get. Once that goes in, that crediting is locked in, can never lose. You can never lose your principal, nor your crediting, your interest that's gone in. No IRS restriction, tax deferred growth, meaning you don't pay taxes as you go along, and you don't pay taxes in the future. Tax-free access, any use at any time you want. So you can buy the car for the grandchild going off to college. Doesn't matter. Uninterrupted crediting. What we mean by this is as you earn the credits, when money grows up in here, let's say you want to buy a car for our granddaughter for college. We take the money out of the plan. Guess what? We take 10,000 out. The 10,000 is actually still in the plan earning interest. That's uninterrupted crediting. So she can use the 10,000 to buy a car. She still gets interest crediting on that 10,000 as if it was still sitting in her account, which it is. This is a non-bank resource, so it's not guided or stuck within the rules of banks, yet it's safe and protected by state and federal associations. Finally, there's future protection. So there's protection piece in place with all of this. No IRS. Most people want to put a line through the IRS, don't they? And we think about these, there are a couple of ways to fund them. A lot of people fund them on a monthly basis. Put in your budget, boom, 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 here we go. So you can see what a plan like this could do for a one-year-old, starting one-year-old, funding it just like a retirement plan, essentially. And maybe the grandparents set it up at $100 a month, and the child takes it over later on and put $200 a month in when they get a career or whatever it is. You can see how all this money grows, and this is available cash. That's sitting there to go for college or a car, whatever it might be. Now, the cool thing about this, if you take a look at it, we call these max funded. Look at the max plan right here. That money is way more than 2 times the $100 column, isn't it? Considerably more. That's the power of compound interest. That's why these things are so important to treat the right way so you get the compounding working on these things. So this would be just like setting it in your monthly budget. Okay, here we're going to do it. Now we have lots of people, like a 1-year-old person can do it for as little as $50 a month. I have a lot of $50 a month plans. And then I visit those people on an annual basis. And hey, we're going to kick up to $75 a month. So you can gradually add more and more money to it. Now let's look at another option. Another option, and I've had grandparents do this. Grandparents said, hey, you know what? I'm going to fund this uh, for 5 years, 500 a month, and that's it. So looking at this plan, the grandparents have funded this as part of the legacy they're leaving to their grandchild. And a lot of grandparents can afford this because they paid for their house, they're in retirement, they have money coming in. So this is just a 5-year plan. Look at how that money grows up. They never touch this $1 million baby, right? Or it could be a 10-year funding. There are amazing ways to do this. Now, these numbers are not guaranteed, but your numbers will be very, very similar. These are very, very conservative estimates. Typically, we estimate these at, I believe it's 5.6% annual growth. Last year, I had some people get 11.8%. Okay, so let's talk about what these things really are. We're planting a money tree. So if you think about that, we're nurturing it, watering it, feeding it, just as if we planted a tree in our yard. When does the fruit come? The fruit comes later in life, doesn't it? Grandma, this could be grandma's money tree, grandma and grandpa. In fact, my wife Kim wrote a book called Grandma's Money Tree, but it's like leaving a legacy. My wife Kim and I, we have 3 grandchildren, just had a fourth grandchildren a few days ago in October 2024. And we have 2 of these plans set up for each of our grandchildren. That's going to be our legacy, and we're creating generational wealth for generations beyond us. That's what we're giving to our family. Finally, these teach kids about money. When they're set up, they can see the numbers and what happens over the years. Kids can create their own bank and offset future expenses. That's the great thing about this. Once it gets set up, it can be used for all sorts of things. Maybe your 14-year-old is on a traveling basketball team. Well, you can use this money to fund that traveling basketball uh, program. So that gives you some ideas on how index savings plans work. Now, the next step for you, if you're really interested in these, as you can see, there's a QR code and a web address. We have a simple quote system set up, and in that simple quote, you'll put in some basic information, the names and ages of the children. You'll put in the name of the person that recommended you watch this, and then we'll get back to you with some numbers on what this could do for your child, your grandchild, your niece and nephew. So please take a picture of this screen, whatever you need to do, fill out that form. And once you get that specific information, and you can ask questions on that form too, get that specific information, then at least you have something to make decisions about. And what I always say, I taught high school for about 20 years, and I educate people on a daily basis now about money. And I always say, information allows us to make decisions. That's a good use of information. A poor use of information is learning something and then not making a decision. That's just like never ever learning it, right? So we look forward to helping you. We've helped hundreds of people, dozens of families set these plans up to get out of the bank system and to get away from the risk that our investment system has. So thanks for watching. Look forward to talking to you. Have a fantastic day. Thank you, everyone, and look forward to seeing what we can do for you. Thank you.